Hello students, this is your Civics class, Standard 8. Chapter 2, the Union Executive. First of all, we will go for the introduction. In the last chapter, we learned about the Union Legislature, which included the structure and functioning of the Parliament. In this chapter, we are going to study the Union Executive. Structure of the Union Government. The Union Government means the central government. The Union Government is made up of the above constituents. You know that the legislature, executive and judiciary are the three organs of the state, and that they work for the welfare of people. In a parliamentary system, the executive is part of the legislature and is responsible to the legislature. When we learn about the executive, it is important for us to understand who are included in executive. What are the constitutional provisions relating to executive? And what is the process of policy making for public welfare? India's Union Executive comprises of the President, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. The President is the nominal head and the Prime Minister is the executive head. What type of relation exists between persons holding this post? I think that the Prime Minister meets the President regularly and informs him about the conduct of administration. Yes, this is right. The Prime Minister informs the President about the administration of the country and about new laws and policies. Rather, the President has a right to seek such information. President. According to the provisions in the Constitution of India, the President is the supreme head of the state. The office of the President has the highest honor and prestige, and it represents the public of India. All executive powers of the state are vested in the President by the Constitution. The government carries out its function in the name of the President. However, in reality, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers run the government. Therefore, the President is the nominal and the constitutional head, whereas the Prime Minister is the executive head. Election of the President. The President is indirectly elected by the people of India. The common people do not vote in the election of the President. He is elected by directly elected representatives of the central and state legislatures. The group of these parliamentarians and members of the state legislatures is known as the Electoral College. The tenure of the President is 5 years. The person contesting the presidential elections should be an Indian citizen whose age should be at least 35 years. The person elected to the position of the president has to take an oath while accepting the post. According to the oath, the president bears the responsibility of protecting the Constitution and ensuring that the government runs as per the Constitution. The President governs in accordance with the advice given by Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. The responsibility of protecting the Constitution is shouldered by the President. But if any act of President violates the Constitution, then the Parliament has the authority to remove the President. This process is known as process of impeachment. One house can lay the charge of violence of the Constitution, and the investigation of the charge is carried out by the other house. The resolution has to be passed by special 2/3 majority of the both houses of the Parliament. Powers and function of the President. The Constitution has entrusted several powers and functions to the President. A few functions are enumerated as follows. Number 1. The President summons the meetings of Parliament, prorogue the session of Parliament, sends message to the both houses, dissolves the Parliament after the tenure is over or even before the tenure gets over. Number 2. Bill passed by the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha must be signed by the President. Without his signature, the bill cannot become a law. Number 3. President appoints the Prime Minister and other ministers on the recommendations of Prime Minister. Number 4. The President appoints the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court. The President also appoints the governors of states, chief election commissioners, and the other important officers. Number 5. The President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Decisions regarding war and peace are made by the President. Number 6. The President has some judicial powers too. For instance, the President has the power to reduce the punishment, grant a respite or commute a sentence of a person, or in special circumstances grant pardons or reprisals on humanitarian ground. 7th. President has the power to declare emergency in case of crisis situation arising in the country. There are 3 kinds of emergency mentioned in the Constitution. Number 1. National emergency. Number 2. State emergency. Number 3. Financial emergency. And the last, in the absence of the President, functions are carried out by the Vice President. The Vice President is elected by members of both the houses. Do it. Student, President will take in the oath in the assembly. So, what is the meaning of the oath? Oath of President. I do swear in the name of God or solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President or discharge the function of the President of India and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect and defend the Constitution and the law, and that I will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of Republic of India. Article 60 Constitution of India. By this oath, President engaged himself in the service of the people of India without harming the Constitution. Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. The President is the constitutional head. However, in reality, his powers are nominal, and the Prime Minister, along with the Council of Ministers, is responsible for the administration. We will now see the role and function of the Prime Minister. The party which attains a majority in elections nominates the leader as the Prime Minister. The Council of Ministers is then formed of trustworthy colleagues from within the party. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers must be members of the Parliament. In case they are not members, they are required to get elected to the Parliament within 6 months of their appointment. The government in reality is run by the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. This means that the real executive powers are vested in the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Function of the Prime Minister. Number 1. The foremost task of the Prime Minister is to form his Council of Ministers. While doing this, the Prime Minister gives priority to trustworthy colleagues while considering their administrative experience, governance skills, efficiency, and technical expertise. Number 2. After deciding upon the members of the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister allocates portfolios to them. Number 3. The Prime Minister leads the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister chairs all the meetings of the Councils of Ministers. Number 4. After allocation of portfolios, the Prime Minister has to maintain coordination in the working of various departments, facilitate cooperation amongst the department, supervise the working of this department in order to maintain efficacy and efficiency, etc. Number 5. The Prime Minister also has various other responsibilities, such as to raise the image of the country in the international area and work towards achieving a favorable opinion globally, to develop trust among people, and to provide strong support to people who are victims of any disaster, etc. Functions of Council of Ministers. Number 1. In a parliamentary form of government, the Council of Ministers take initiative in the process of lawmaking. The scheme, policies, plans, etc. are drafted and discussed and they introduced in the House. The Council of Ministers discuss important questions before making a decision. Number 2. Education, agriculture, industry, health, and foreign relations, among others, are subject which the Council of Ministers has to decide a specific policy or direction of work. The Parliament needs to be taken into confidence about the policy decision taken by the government. Therefore, the minister of respective departments lay their policy plans in the House to bring about a discussion on it. Number 3. Implementation of policy is the foremost responsibility of the Council of Ministers. Once the Parliament approves the laws, the Council of Ministers implements them.